Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Metra's monthly update. It's the monthly update for August.
No, September.
September.
Yep.
September. I don't even know what month we're in anymore. So,
It's been quite hectic.
as you know, I'm the chairman and CEO, Derek Boyd, and this is.
I'm Vladimir Stakov, the president secretary of Metra. So let's get right into it. So first things first, we're gonna do wrap up for August. So if you guys remember, we were previously talking about 124 and the issues that we were having with them, and some other legal issues that unfortunately we are still not able to fully divulge or discuss yet. As far as our update on them, we have successfully evicted them. They have left. Obviously, as you would expect, they trashed the whole damn place, so no surprise there. However, we have a new tenant that we've already gotten in place there, who's basically agreed to take over all repairs, all trash, clean out, everything else like that for four. How much? How much?
It's basically the same deal. If you remember from when we talked about 104, the people that are going to come in and basically do the work and keep the rent cheap for a long period of time, so like 2-year contract kind of thing. Same general rule here. It's $425. He got a discount up front because basically we're letting him come in to start the clean out portion of it, because at least at 104 we did the clean out. This guy's going to do the clean out, so he's getting a prorated rent on that, and then it's going to be $425 him doing all repairs.
Yep.
And supplying materials.
And so we got that already taken care of. So basically 124, while it's not fully rented back in regards to like our like actual like money generation from it, it is back up and running like it should be already after getting those people out. That's why we weren't too worried about it, and we wanted to move forward on it just because of obviously dealing with the problem. Now we're going to start getting into the new stuff. 118 problems. So if you guys don't remember 118, or as we've lovingly dubbed it, the bamboo house, we had the initial set of tenants that came in there and they weren't satisfied with it. We just basically got them out and we're just charging them a daily rate for storage for their stuff there, and then went from there. And we have new people that went on ahead and took over on it. They were paying $650 a month on it, and everything was going pretty good, except that we have found concrete in our pipes, the drainage pipes. So this is something that is maliciously done. Now, Derek and I discussed it, and we had to have recalled it multiple times, along with our contractor as well. And we cannot remember a moment that we were in that house, because the water was always on, that it wasn't draining properly. Versus what they were showing us, they would turn it on and it would clearly build back up and then like drain very slowly over the course of hours. Neither one of us ever experienced that the entire time we were there at the home. What this has led us to potentially suspect, and I use that word very lightly here, is that we're actually suspecting that the previous people we had in there that we charged for storage may have been the ones that had done it. But we have no concrete evidence, and this is very important to understand as a landlord before you go around making accusations or you start threatening lawsuits. So let's go on ahead and let's talk about why you don't want to make bad accusations to the landlord. This is a very, very dumb decision for you to make. All right, even though we have our suspicions, even though we have 3 witnesses, being us 2 and our own contractor, knowing that it was working, we don't have enough hardcore proof. The reason you don't want to make these dumb accusations, because 1, if you are wrong and those people really didn't do it, you're making yourself look very, very bad. 2, you have to be able to prove it in a court of law. And that's the difficult part, because we took over the mobile home park. We had nobody living in that unit the entire time we had taken it over. We had just fixed everything, keyword there, fixed everything, and just got it up and running. And now we're running into this issue after somebody's been living in there. A judge could see why we would have the suspicion of it, but it would not be enough evidence to actually put any kind of a judgment against somebody for it. This is where proof becomes so important. Like, if somebody would have caught them like walking in with like concrete bags or something like that, that's very good proof right there, because why would they be walking in with concrete bags and all this other stuff? But we couldn't get any kind of a report like that, and now we're stuck footing the bill because now the people we have living in there don't have drainage.
Plus, the other issue is that with that proof, we didn't have like a prior tenant that was in there that can vouch that the drains were obviously working efficiently. So for example, like he was saying, we bought the mobile home park, that one was unusable, we didn't rent it out to anybody. There's no saying that it was working enough while we were testing it, but not working enough for somebody to live in it. So if somebody lives in it and they're utilizing that water drainage a lot more often than the occasional test here and there, then maybe it will fill back up and then kind of, fill up to the pipe. So then that would make sense. So we can't sit there and say, no, it was working 100% when we tested it prior to them moving in, and then now they moved in, suddenly it doesn't work.
We would have had to have had the water on for like 5 hours non-stop, just seeing if it was constantly draining,
or
and making
just
sure there
having
was
some
nothing
type
going
of
on.
proof somewhere, just like literally us recording us working on the home and having the water running to prove to them. Otherwise, it's just a he said she said argument. There's no real proof that we can do.
And don't put yourself in a position, even if you're mad, because believe me, we were, especially with the financial situation we're dealing with and everything else like that with the mobile home park, having to have more repairs done is the last thing we want on our plate. But even in your anger, you can't make rash judgment calls like that, because then you'll just be throwing money out the wayside. And understand this as well. If you piss a judge off enough with false bad accusations, there's always the chance that they will award the defendant compensation for you wasting their time bringing them to the lawsuit as well, whether or not they had an attorney or not. So just always understand, if you're going to make any kind of accusations, even if they seem very valid, make sure you have hard proof or hard concrete, like something you could very easily point to as a chain of events.
Concrete evidence.
I know, as we're talking about
concrete
pipes, yeah. And again, just if we didn't say it earlier, 100% we found concrete in the pipe.
In fact, we have pictures we can supply.
Yeah.
We'll put it up here so you guys can see it, but we do have a couple pictures of it.
Yeah, like it was an actual maliciously done thing, because let's be real here, concrete doesn't just end up in your pipes accidentally.
Go ahead. The point where we're at now, we replaced all those pipes, everything's draining efficiently now. So now if something happens after this point, now we have proof if the current tenants do something like that.
Yes.
So now we're good.
Now the next thing. So if you guys remember, way long ago, it was borderline in the July/August update. It could have blended in either one of those. If you remember, we had that lady who plopped her camper onto our property. She admitted that she was the one that dumped the tires on there and that she was supposed to clean them up. She just refused to clean them up and didn't do anything, skipped town, kind of like what we expected, and then it sat there. We tried to press charges. I'm very irritated by this because the police were not able to get in touch with her or track her or do anything with it, even though we have 100% text confirmation from her that she committed the crime, and then have also threatened us now with like putting not charges but fines against us because our newest tenant in 124, previously Meth Head House, he was burning things out in the he was burning a mattress and whatnot out in the yard, and the police came out there and they got on him and they contacted us letting us know like, hey, we told you guys to stop doing this, and we explained like, look, we sat there, we just must have forgotten to tell him, we must have like forgotten to forewarn him, because I don't blame him. We really did forget to say anything.
Here's literally what I told the cop when I was talking with him. So basically I was like, look man, I was like, if you've noticed, since the last time we've had a complaint, it's been over a month. I know for sure it's been over a month. We haven't had a single person get in trouble about burning any of the trash. We've been slowly disposing of it, as you can physically see on the property. We've literally been cleaning it up. I was like, it is just a one-time, just bad timing coincidence, right? New tenant came in. They saw the burn piles, because we haven't cleaned up the burn piles yet. They just assumed that they could burn. Plus, like everybody else, including ourselves, we always knew that generally in counties, not in cities, in counties, you can burn things. So they were under the same assumption that we and rest of the other tenants, most of the neighbors were under, that you can't burn. So just, can you bear with us? I understand that it happened, but can you please kind of look over it, because we haven't been a repeat problem to an extent. It's just a one-time inconvenience. And he was like, all right, well, let me talk with the tenant. He did. Tenant said the same thing. He's like, dude, I thought it was county, man. I thought I could just burn anything. And the guy was just like, no, why does everybody think that? I was like, because it's fucking common logic. Everybody can burn in county. Yes. If you have chickens, you can burn things. I don't get it. So anyways, the trash cop, as we call him, basically called us back and was like, all right, look, guy said the same thing. Story adds up. Just don't ever do this again. Tell every tenant that you're going to get in there. No trash being burned except for wood. And we're like, okay, cool, yeah.
And just to confirm, just to like clarify this, by the way, in most counties, you're able to burn whatever you want, as long as you control and maintain the like pile or whatnot. This includes trash and everything else like that too. However, in Anderson County, you're only allowed to burn natural resources. So like you could have a like massive bonfire and whatnot as long as it's all out of trees.
Yeah.
Like it's just the second you touch trash, it's illegal and it's an issue.
Yep.
And obviously, like everyone else, I don't even understand why this is an issue. It's out in the county and it's on our land. So if anything, we should be the ones dictating if we want tenants to be burning things or not. But apparently county dictated it for us.
It's our problem anyway. So like say one of our tenants causes a fire and the fire blew over into the neighbor and next thing you know the neighbor's house is on fire. It's our responsibility anyways. We would have to pay for that bill. So why is the county getting on our ass saying we can't even burn anything when we'd be footing the bill if we did anyway?
Yep.
I don't get it.
It's insane. So now we're gonna move on to our next talking point, and this one's Derek's favorite. 122 getting put in place.
Oh my god, this has been an absolute
Spoiler alert,
disaster.
it's still not in place.
Yeah, it's still not in place. This has been a disaster. So first off, the main thing we had to do is obviously get the mobile home in place. So we have to clear out the lot itself. So I don't think I have a picture of it, but basically it's in between where Bamboo House is and where 126 is. It goes right pretty much at a weird jutted angle, kind of about like 12-ish feet off of 126. It's really close based off of where the power pole is from the previous lot. And so we have to kind of finagle it in between, because where you're coming down off, I know you can't really see my hand, where you're coming down off the road, there's 116, then the 118's over here, gotta go down a little bit further, then it's 120, and then 126 here. They have to go in between 116 and 120, 116 and 120, back it in, drive it on this little field, and then plop it in, and then it'll land in between 118 and 126. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass, because we have to not only cut back all the trees on the driveway path to get it in, plus a couple on the way down so that the truck can drive a little further forward and then start the turn. Then we also had to cut out all the trees kind of like in between 116 and 120 just to make sure he has clearance to be able to maneuver the truck however he needs to get the mobile home in. Then he has to drive it through the little field section, and then obviously the lot where it's at, there's a couple trees there, bunch of overgrown stuff, like there's the power lines, and then all these vines have been basically overgrowing, hanging them down. So we had to pin back the lines, cut all those vines off, cut back all the branches that would normally be scratching the roof, because you got to think the trailer's higher than it normally will be, because when the trailer gets moved in, it'll settle down a little bit once it's actually put on the blocks. So we had to cut back up higher than it normally would be, and then we can finally put it in. So then also you got to remember too, when you cut down trees, you got to clear all the stumps, because the truck has to be able to drive in there, and it can't just be driving over stumps, doing all whatever it's doing, because then the house is shaking everywhere. So we had to clear out all the stumps, branches, vines, pin back lines. It was a whole debacle. So anyways, so we got the vast majority of that done. So basically, now what we have to do, now that we got the lot cleared out, we have to get the actual moving company to come out and inspect it, make sure that it kind of meets their specifications and that there isn't going to be any unforeseen problems that they can kind of see. So then basically, the scheduling to get this dude to come out was a mess. I mean, okay.
Let me back up one thing on Derek's point here. Every time Derek has had to call me to ask me a question, ask my approval, or vent to me about this dumbass mover has been absolutely insane. This man is incompetent to a T. He doesn't even know what trailer he's talking about or what lot he's talking about moving it in half of the time.
So that is the other thing too, is every time I contact the guy, he doesn't quite remember which location I'm considered, and he also doesn't know which mobile home it is, and he's asking me for the information. I'm like, dude, I don't have it. I'm actually doing this on behalf of the actual guy who owns it, which is the previous owner of the mobile home park. Once it's moved in place, because he still has the permit in his name, once it's moved in place, then we can legally change it in our name, because now it's on our lot, and we don't have to worry about the permit issue. But if we take it and put it in our name now, then basically the problem that we're going to have is that we would have to resubmit the permit with our approval to be able to put it on our land. So fuck all of that. We're not doing that. Not happening. So instead what we're doing is we're just utilizing what's already in everybody's name, and we just got to move it. So the guy already has been in contact with the previous owner, because that was the guy that was hired by the previous owner to do it. So you would think he would have a record, okay, this mobile home by this guy to this location. I'm just another guy facilitating those three. I don't know why it's so freaking hard to understand this, but the guy's lost 24/7. So anyway, so I had to get the guy to come out, and I must have had to reschedule about 10 times, at least 8, must have been possibly 10, because I had to get him and the maintenance guy to go out the exact same time, so that way they could be on the same page, so he knows what needs to be cut back or moved or finagled or whatever's got to be done to make sure that it's 100%. Because even if he meets with me, I can only relay the information. Plus, the maintenance guy would have more information on what he needs to do, versus also giving some information back, being like, hey, what about you coming in this direction, that direction? They can kind of
the two people needing to do the job are the two most important people to be in the room at the same time. Very simple concept.
So basically, I had to coordinate around it. So, maintenance guy is there pretty much every day at, whatever hours he's there, morning to night. And this guy just had to get the hell out there. Well, every time I called this guy to get out there, he was either falling behind because he was stuck dealing with another mobile home that was causing more problems, or he was just in general incapable of doing it because he was in such a far away location that by the time he would reach back, the maintenance guy would leave. So I was in this constant issue of this guy's always late, or it's going to be too late for the actual maintenance guy. So finally I get it organized. I get it set up to where he can come. Well, I don't know what the hell happened. This blows my mind. The guy shows up at the wrong time, okay? Our maintenance guy isn't there yet. The guy shows up at like 7:30 in the morning. And the maintenance guy wasn't going to be there because he had to go pick up some parts for 118, actually. And he wasn't going to plan on being there until about 9 or so. And by the time he got there, the guy had already left, the mobile home mover guy. So the mobile home mover guy wound up talking with one of the tenants, and the tenants tried to relay the info, and it was just like, it sounded like it was a mess. Like the guy was like, yeah, this is impossible, we're never going to move it in, because the tenant didn't exactly know the direction we were moving it in from. So it didn't work. So we had to reschedule again. Finally, we got a time for them to go out there, and all we needed to do...
To clarify on what Derek is saying, the tenant literally thought the mobile home was going into a different location than where it was.
Yes.
And the thing is, that guy could not comprehend it. When, once again, why would you talk to a tenant about where a mobile home is moving on the owner's lot when the owner's the one that had to deal with all the development and everything else? Plus, this guy should have brought his paperwork, because the county supplies it, of the exact spot that he has a permit to pull and place a mobile home, because if he moves a mobile home illegally, that's on him.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I'll get to that in a second. So basically, we finally got to where they were coordinated and they could meet up together. And all we found out was that, a couple branches need to be cut out from the driveway and everything should be good. Now I'm having the problem of trying to get him scheduled again out there. He's currently out of town with, I don't know, vacation or something. So now I'm delayed on that. But backing it up to what he was saying, this was the other issue, is that, okay, so we had a very limited time frame to get this thing moved. I don't know if we updated in the last video or not. But the lady that we have the mobile home on her lot, from the previous owner bought it, they had to take it off of that guy's lot, put it on a temporary lot. The temporary lot lady calls me and tells me that this mobile home needs to be moved within 30 days, otherwise it's getting like repoed or trashed or something, right? She just needs it gone. And we're like, oh crap, we gotta get this done ASAP. That would have been like the middle of September. So this is why we were in such a mad rush to get all this done. Well, as we were getting closer to getting this all done, getting closer to the end of the time frame, and we weren't getting anything organized with the time of getting the guy out there and coordinating this issue of getting the maintenance guy and this dude to meet up and figure out what we need to get done, the guy was just saying, well, the previous owner just paid me to just drop it on a field somewhere on the park. And I'm like, you literally can't do that, you idiot. I'm like, if you do, we legally can't touch it once it's dropped and put in place, because we don't have the permit to put it in the place to begin with. We need to get a new permit to basically move it back off of that to put it into a new permitted section of where it should go. You're going to cost us a shitload more money, and you're also illegally dumping a mobile home, which is a bad idea, dude. You should know what you're allowed to do. And he was just like, wow, this is what I was paid to do. I don't give a shit what you're paid to do. I'm telling you what you legally should do. Otherwise, you're going to be screwed. Not to mention, it's an extra roughly 10 yards to move it into the correct spot. Just stop being an idiot. So anyways, needless to say, we didn't get it moved in time, and this lady winds up moving it to another lot. The worst part is that for like a good 5 or so days, she had no idea where it went. So we went like 5 days of the mobile home moving company doesn't know, the lady that didn't, we were temporarily holding it on her lot, and the previous owner and myself, or us, nobody knew where our mobile home went. Straight up disappeared, and then finally we tracked it down into where it was another lot that the lady had a connection with somebody else. They had just moved any of the leftover mobile homes that were on that lot to another lot that we had more time with. So needless to say, we have more time now, but it was still, it's a heartache waiting to happen. So in the end, now we're just waiting to get the last inspection done, and then we can finally put it in place, and that's pretty much it.
Look, if you're ever starting a new business, just be glad about this. You will probably, I hope, never be so incompetent that an entire home disappears on you and you don't know where it is. It's just gone. At least have that in the back of your mind for motivation if you decide to start your own business.
Yeah,
you will probably not be that bad.
And the worst part is that we can't just get a different mobile home company to move it, which is more competent, because this guy, the previous owners, already paid in advance for these people to move it, and we're not coming out of pocket, because as you'll see in our budget, we just don't really have it. So unfortunately, we're stuck dealing with the absolute idiocy of this like 6-way like hexagon of people, with us, the previous owner, the landlord lady.
Keep in mind, one more time, just to remind you guys, this is very important. These movers literally picked up the mobile home and moved it to a temporary holding location to that when they already had the permit to move it into the mobile home park. They picked it up, moved it to move it again. I want to clarify that. That is the definition of 1, insanity, 2, lost revenue, and 3, wasted time.
And what's even more screwed up is that the permit specifies exactly where the mobile home is coming from and where it's going to. Now, this is the problem that we're going to run into if somebody kind of catches on to it, and that's that the mobile home is not coming from where the permit is supposed to be specified at. So, the original owner of the mobile home, it was coming off of his lot. Well, they illegally moved it to a temporary lot. Now, it got illegally moved to another temporary lot, and the permit does not say it's coming from this third lot to our place. The only thing that adds up on the permit is that it's going to the correct place. So, hopefully nobody causes a stir on it. It shouldn't be a real big issue because it's not our fault. They'll just go after the moving company for doing, illegal moving. But the thing is that it's just so annoying because if somebody does cause an issue with it, now we're going to get delayed even longer because of all this freaking stupidity that everybody else is doing, not us.
Yep.
It is what it is.
So, another update. This one's pretty simple, honestly. 130 is getting a whole new bathroom just because of all the leaks and temporary issues that are going on there. There's a multitude of plumbing issues there, too. They're being slowly rectified.
And real quick on 130, I swear the previous owner, his nephew or son, whatever it was, the landlord that was basically a meth dealer, that guy must have pissed everybody in that park off. Because there were so many cut plumbing pipes in 130, it was insane. To the point where we're like, dude, it is costing us more trying to couplink all these cut pipes than it would be to just rerun all these lines. Which is why we just said screw it, because the floor is already weak from some water damage. We're having to redo all the plumbing anyways, and there was an issue with one of the lights in there. So we're like, since we're already having to partially rewire, already redo most of the plumbing, if not all of it, and the floors are garbage, why not just renovate the entire bathroom? So that's what we decided to do. It's actually cheaper for us to rip everything out, redo it all correctly, and then put it all back in than it is to try to patch fix all these little things.
Yeah. And then another thing that's definitely new for this month. This was a very tough decision for Derek and I to make under our current financial situation, but this is the definition of an entrepreneur. Understand this. You, as an entrepreneur, by definition, are taking greater than normal financial risk for profit. The contractor that we initially in our first round of videos were saying was incompetent, and then as we kept working with him and seeing his work firsthand, we changed our opinion of him. We realized what the situation really was, that it was his partner that was the main issue and whatnot. We have actually offered him a subcontracting agreement to where if he would be the permanent maintenance guy on staff for our mobile home park, that we would be paying him twice a month, every single month, and he would have a set consistent pay. As a contractor, this is a golden, literally, if you actually understand what you're getting, this is a golden opportunity because now you could be self-employed, doing your own thing, while also turning around and making like a consistent pay the entire time across the board. So for him, this was a phenomenal deal. Now, as far as what it means for us, this was a hard decision to make because while great for him and it was a good deal, he took it. We are still finishing out all the legal paperwork on it as the time being. For us, it has put us in a little bit more of a financial strain than we wanted to be in at this moment in time. But in the future, aka literally in December of this year, it will be the best deal and the best possible situation for us, which is why it was such a hard decision to make. If we didn't have to pay back the investors that we have currently at the aggressive rate that we're paying back, this deal is phenomenal and it's great and it works out in everybody's best interest. But because of the fact that we do, it's put us in a bit of a bind. Now,
so let me jump in on what this deal is real quick, just so you have an idea. Basically, as it was before, we had to pay for materials and then pay for whatever the labor was, right? And it was always up in the air what those would be. That's why we were getting estimates up front, and we would pay for those jobs like we did with Bamboo House that took, well, a month and a half to get done. So the contractor obviously didn't get paid for about a month because he got paid up front, and then a little bit after that when he was doing the tear down of the one mobile home, and then he didn't get paid anything. So obviously he was out of pocket for all of it, plus his partner ran with all the money and got screwed. So he was looking for more of a stable source of income while also being able to provide and produce for us. And we also needed something a little bit more stable because we need to be able to budget around it a little bit more accordingly, because we would have moments where it's like, we got to pay $2,000 out of pocket now, nothing for a little bit, 1,000 here, nothing, 1,800 here, nothing. It's like, okay, this is way too hard to budget around. So we both were in pretty much the same boat where we needed something a little bit more consistent. So what we came up to was a way in which he still gets compensated enough to where he can work on the home. But the big thing is incentivizing him and us to work together to get the whole park up and running, because we can all make more money. And here's how we did it. So basically, instead of it being us paying out of pocket for materials and then us paying out of pocket for labor and him just milking the clock, what we did instead is that he gets paid a flat rate of $100 per mobile home or unit in general, this house that he's going to be working on. So if he does all these mobile homes, we can eventually put him on some of our rest of our individual
keyword there, that he is going to be working on.
Yes. So he gets $100 per unit. And with that being said, that $100 is also half the budget for materials. So any materials that he would have to get for whatever reason, so like say subfloor or like, you know, nails, shingles, anything like that, for whatever he's doing, plumbing stuff, we split half and half. So that incentivizes him for two things. One, the cheaper the materials that he can get, as well as provide and put in place, the more money he will save. And two, it also means that the faster he gets something done and he can work on another mobile home, he will get an additional $100 a month. So right now he's working on 7 of the 10 mobile homes because we have those individual agreements.
We have 3 units that the tenants are responsible for any and all repairs.
So because of that, he's only going to get paid for 7 of them. Then as we get 122, for example, moved in, that'll be an 1/8 that he'll get paid on, and he'll get an additional $100 a month on that, which once again, any additional material that we need to get for anything will be split half and half. So this, like I said, helps heavily reduce our unexpected material costs and also just kind of flatline our general maintenance budget, because now we know at any time what he's going to be paying. So like I said, right now we know we're paying him $700 for the units that he's working with. We're also paying him still the $500 for the lawn care, which we'll get into how we're doing that in a minute for another thing. And then any additional budget will just be whatever we have to pay out of pocket, half of for the materials, which shouldn't be more than if we're paying half of it, if he's getting $1,000 worth of materials, we're only paying $500 out of pocket. So it's not going to bury us. So now our budget is significantly more stable, around the $1,200 at minimum range to around $1,700, maybe $1,800 in big repair range. So we're easy able to figure out what that is, because that's literally our pretty much half of our budget for what we're paying the investors right now. So anyhow, with that being said, as far as the lawn care portion of it goes, the $500 that we're paying for him, as you all know, when late fall and all of winter hits, there is no lawn to cut. So what we plan on doing with that is that $500, because he's still going to be dependent on that income, because he's probably got to pay bills and stuff at home, we're still either going to factor a portion of that towards our cut of the materials, or we're gonna put him to work on other homes, like I said, that we personally have outside of this joined business that we have.
So I'll give you guys an example. At my house, I have been desperately needing a storage shed for like months and months since I've lived here. Well, he can actually build a storage shed from the ground up. Build it.
Yep.
And so what we would just do in order to keep his income the same while still getting something done out of it, we would, like, an example of that is that I would have him come over here and work on a storage shed here at my house. Another, if we get another like rental property that we end up in the portfolio, well, now he's not just going to be focusing on just working at the mobile home park. We'll put him on that rental property instead of getting some random contractor to go do it. Things like that. There's a lot of ways to utilize this and make sure it's beneficial to keep his income the same and keep our monthly price the same while constantly having a year-round benefit of it.
Yep.
But with our budget, it was a very, very strenuous decision to make.
So
I'll put it that way.
You'll see where we are in the budget, because like Vlad said, if we hold out until December, once the investors are paid
like
off,
December 1st is what I'm talking. Like literally the second the clock ticks, December 1.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
Like everything is gonna be smooth sailing.
It really is about 60-ish days from now, and then we're gold. So we have the budget.
You'll have less fire memes.
Yeah.
Here's the budget
So
stuff.
now we're into the budget. We'll kind of go back to what we were just talking about with the maintenance cut and what we're doing with that. So we're actually doing really well financially, keeping the mobile home park occupied, right? We don't have a lot of empty units, surprisingly. So we're doing well, at least keeping that going. Now, these numbers might change a little bit here, depending on what finalizes in these last couple of days of, well, technically it's October now, but we have a couple people that are a little late. But we'll figure out where we're at 100%. So we're just going to go ahead with what we have. So where we're at right now, we have 6 units that are currently paying $425. Now, luckily, one of those is $425 plus they're doing all the work on the home. So the other 5 units are just the people that are still grandfathered from when we originally bought the mobile home park. So,
by the way, just want to point this out, the hilarity of this. When we inherited this park, we inherited it with 9 tenants.
Yeah, 9 tenants.
And we have 5 still left in the grandfather
program. And we know
program.
one is leaving in like 2 to 3 months. So really, we're about to have less than half than we originally had. So
that's that iron fist, baby.
So with that being said, so like I said, we have 6 of them at 425. We have 1 at 500, which is if you remember, we were doing a bit of a deal with 108 where the guy came in and he's going to do some work on the air conditioning unit, as well as getting rid of all the crap in the home from when 108 left. So that means like all the furniture, even the carpets and flooring and stuff. He was doing all that work, and we were prorating a portion of it and just giving him discounts until he got to the point where he was like fully living in the home. So he was paying his first month this month, which came with the big discount, which was $300 off, because normally he's going to be $800, so he's at $500 for this month. So he paid that $500 this month. This upcoming month, he'll be at a $20 discount for some extra proration that's going to last for about 10 months or so. So he'll be paying $780. So just like that, our income is drastically going to change. It's like half of a unit just in him paying more for the month. But anyhow, so he paid $500 this month. Then we have 600, which are the people at one. I just remember a whole hilarious thing we got to talk about here in a minute. So 600 was at 130, so we have them consistently paying. Then we also, they did have a cat at one point. They were paying $650. They got rid of the cat, and then
no, they didn't.
No, they didn't get rid of the cat.
No, they didn't.
There's still a cat there, so we got to get on their case about that. But and then we have $650 for the new tenants that are the people that took over the current place at 118. The previous people were going to be paying about $625. Well, once they left, we gave them basically a prorated. I think we kept like 135 of it, which I didn't really factor in this budget because I couldn't remember if I added it to the previous budget or this one. But anyhow, so basically they wound up leaving, and then we got new tenants in there for $650. Now, with that all being said, we also get the additional $450 from Jonesville. So overall, we have a grand total of $4,825 in income that came in, because we also got $75 for a little bit of payback for when we took over that May payment for all the tenants, when we were making them pay half the May payment, we have one guy paying us $75 every month to kind of catch himself up on that. So it's $75 there, and like I said, there may be an additional $135 on this. We also may be getting an additional $200 to $240 range for that deal with 124 that we were talking about. Have we just got a tenant in there? They're supposed to have paid a couple days ago. They're running a little behind, but they're going to pay a couple late fees. That's why I said between 200 and 240. So with that being said, we could be over $5,000, maybe even 5,200, somewhere around there. But we're going to go with 4825 because I know that's what we've received, and not including that prorated 135. So now into the cost of what we have this month. So luckily, as we were talking about before, we don't have to pay the water bill this month. We do, but we don't. So the water bill is actually due this month, but as I was telling you before, we can put it on a credit card, and then the 30 days from the credit card is when it's actually due, so we'll pay it next month, which gives us at least another month to try to get all of our crap figured out and isolate. Like, pretty much every of those little people that were doing like prorated rents and stuff, they'll be paying the full rental amounts, and that extra amount of money is going to go back to paying towards the water bill effectively. So with that being said, the water bill was a fat one. It was, I don't remember the exact numbers on top of my head. I should have got them beforehand. We have two bills. One was like $75, which was great. The other one was like $1,100, which was not great. So our total water bill is about $1,200. It's a little less. I think it's actually close to $1,150, which is disgusting. Now, remember, it is for 2 months, so if you divide that by 2, it's still close to $600 though, which is really, really high. It should be closer to like $450, $500, depending, of course, about the occupancy rate and how many people are there. We have found a lot of leaks in that park, and we're slowly working on them. So hopefully by the next bill, it should be reduced. But not by much, because the water company is completely banging us because they've just upped the rate by 14%. So regardless, we're going to be paying over $1,000 a month anyways, and that starts the next billing cycle. So we got boned. Apparently they do that every 6 years, and we just bought into the 6-year mark, and so we just got hit with a bigger bill starting next month. I mean, this was the old month, the old bill, the old 6 years. We're going to get a new 6 years, so now the water leaks and everything on top of it is going to be an additional 14%.
It's not the end of the world, because what you can do as a landlord, if it gets too much for like Derek and I to deal with, we'll just stop saying that we'll provide the water, and what we'll do is that we divide the water bill across all the current active units, and all of those units would just have to pay their portion of the water bill.
It's like an indirect way of raising the rent.
So it's not the end of the world, because like we can still sit there and we can do that. I would just prefer not to, and I would, if we could just get the water bill to $500 or $600 total a month, I would be totally satisfied with that. But that is kind of my backup plan, to do that one next, if it's still going to be a persistent issue over the course of the year.
Pretty much, yeah. So anyhow, so with that being said, we don't have to pay the water bill this month, which is great. However, even without the water bill, we're still negative. So here's where we're at. Basically, we have the investor cost, which is the biggest one, $2,661.90. That's a huge chunk, considering we only brought in, we'll say $5,000, even though it's $4,825 here. Say we brought in $5,000. That's still more than half of what we totally brought in. That is a large amount of money. So like we keep talking about, all we gotta do is get to December, because we have 2 payments of them left, because we just paid here in September. We have October, November, freedom. It's literally that simple. So all we gotta do is survive. So with that being said, we gotta pay them. Obviously, we have the mortgage, which is the $1,953 we normally pay every single month, which is totally fine. And then, so like we were talking about before, because now that we normally had it separated, where the lawn care was like a flat $500 that we were doing, and then whatever unexpected total cost came in with the credit card bills and everything that popped up. Well, for this month, there really wasn't any extra credit card. We didn't pay anything on the credit card at all for anything. It was just where we just cycle all of our debts into like normal to get the extra 1% cash back. But so now that we have the lawn care wrapped in with this agreement where the maintenance guy is also getting paid that $700, we did start paying out that this month. So we did pay him a total of $1,200. So we basically had those 3 bills. That's really all we had. We had the $1,200, the $1,953 for the mortgage, and the $2,661. We didn't have to pay the trash pickup, that's next month, October. I got to pay that here soon. That's this month coming up, and that's a 3-month thing. And then, like I said, the water bill isn't due until the 15th when the credit card's due. So theoretically speaking, if we do wind up getting 122 in place, as well as the rest of these tenants now go to their full maximum amount that they pay, we actually, where we're at right now, we're negative 989. But even with that negative 989 and the additional income, we will almost break even while paying the investors, which is incredibly insane, because if you think about it, and that's with all the debts constantly paying for like maintenance and whatnot, which means that as soon as we pay off the investors, our profit margin like just dramatically goes up $2,000 plus.
Well, let me jump in that. It won't go up immediately, because if you understand what we've been doing for the last couple of months with our updates, we have been delaying our debt. It's called debt cycling.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, even once we hit December, all that extra income, we're not just going to take that and put it in our pocket. We're actually going to be paying back everything we've delayed up to that moment.
There's also the issue too of property taxes. We got to pay about $4,000 in that, so that's about 2 of those payments anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we really won't be able to take any of that money back probably until the middle of next year.
Yeah.
For ourselves. So what that means is we have December and January, which goes towards property taxes. That'll be the full amount that we need for it without having to come out of pocket. And then starting in February, for about 3 to 4 months, that extra income that we get off of this can then go back to pay off all the debt that we incurred while doing the debt cycling.
Yep.
So theoretically, we should be able to start recuperating some of our funds, or paying ourselves out like normally, or reinvesting it towards other things. April, May range, give or take.
Yeah, so there is a light at the end of the fiery hellhole of a tunnel we've been in.
Yep.
So that's why we kept pushing, and we kept dumping more and more of our own money into it, because we both knew it. It's just obviously, you can talk about theory all day long, prove it. And we're getting close to being at that cusp where we can finally prove it.
Plus, we have so many other little things coming up too. I mean, every single time a tenant leaves, we've been literally upping the rent. So we have that benefit. So if we wind up having any of the grandfathered tenants leave or gold, we can easily keep upping those rents. And then the other thing is as well that...
And also, I want to point this out real quick. Even the tenants that we get in, that they're at the same rate of $425, we are making more money with those tenants. This is the thing you need to understand, because otherwise the people that we had grandfathered in, they were paying $425 and we were doing the maintenance.
Yes.
Versus now they're paying $425 and they are responsible for the maintenance unless they're one of our grandfathered in tenants.
So effectively, we're saving $100 per one of those $425, which is a fourth of their payment. It's a pretty big amount. So for every new tenant we get in, whether it be the $425, they take care of repairs and maintenance, or we put them in like $550 or something, for example, we take care of repairs and maintenance. Either way, we're making more money. We're either saving $100 or getting like $100 plus more out of them. So no matter what, when a grandfathered tenant leaves, we make more money. There's no way around it. And we do have one grandfathered tenant that is leaving, because we already knew it in advance. He was planning on leaving sometime around December, January, because he has a house being built. He's moving to his home. And he's got the nicest mobile home in that place because he did all the repairs and maintenance on it. So we know for sure we can get at least 600, maybe even 650 out of it. And then 122 being a really nice new unit coming in, because it hasn't been, damaged with the shitty park maintenance. We know it will also be at least a 550 plus rental, which means that we're going to have even more income coming off of it. So that's what I was saying. As crazy as it sounds, even while paying these investors, if things kind of play themselves out over the next month or so, with the increase in rents that we're already getting, plus the new unit coming in with more rentals, and we may even have some deals in the line where we may be able to get free mobile home put into 138. If that all goes down, we theoretically could just break even or go positive while paying the investors. So by the time the investors do get paid off, we will have a very large amount of income coming in to pay off property taxes and back debts. And then we're gold. We're ready to skyrocket ourselves into the next deal. But anyhow, with that all being said, I do want to say one other little funny thing that happened. Well, there was one hilarious debacle that we had where 130 was in need of a fridge, and we're not responsible for appliances, as we mentioned to you before, based off of the way we did our current leases. But one thing I love doing, because I'm kind of a slumlord to heart, and also I need money, is if you want us to take care of, if you want us to be responsible for something, then you got to pay for it. Pay for that convenience, right? Like if you want somebody to deliver your food, you pay for somebody to deliver your food, right? Same thing. So if you want a fridge to be supplied by us, you're not getting it for free. You're paying for that fridge. So what we decided to do is I had a fridge that this person was basically offering because my mom was getting some stuff from them, some furniture, and I knew he was basically doing a house sale. And so I was like, boom, I know he has a fridge. I'm going to take this fridge, and I know it works because the guy lived there for like 10 years and it still obviously runs, and I tested it. So I'm going to take this fridge and put it in this unit, but they're going to pay me monthly on that fridge. And so we agreed to $15 a month, which means after 5 months, that fridge is paid off completely, and we're making a profit on a fridge, which is weird. So now they're going to be paying $6.15 every month, and they've actually already paid up for October, so they've already paid that $15. So with that being said, we now have extra money, and we're going to do that for other things too. So like if somebody wants, say for example, a stove, or like air conditioning units and things like that, we're going to do $20 flat just because it's easier to keep up with. But the funny thing that happened that I want to get to is when we were moving this fridge. So we were doing a couple things that one day. We were moving a stove for 118 that we had promised in advance. I also had a a washing unit for my mom that I had to move. And then we had this fridge. So we had 3 large appliances in the back of a standard 8-foot truck bed. No, actually, I don't think it's a 6.5-foot truck bed. So really not a lot of room. So we had to finagle it in like this weird triangle pattern to get it all to squeeze in with having the tailgate down. So that means that we just strap it all in, and there was nothing stopping it other than the strap from flying out into the road. Well, we're driving from the location to the mobile home park. It's roughly 30 minutes. And there's a particular route that I did not want to take because it's on a major interstate, and I do not want to be driving on an interstate because all the wind will hit the fridge.
It was raining that day, and
it was
everything
raining,
else like that. Yeah.
But unfortunately, due to the location that we were in, it was going to take way too long to go the other way around. So, and I was on a time crunch that day. So we were like, okay, whatever. So we went the interstate route. As luck would play out, we're driving, we're doing like, I don't know, 50 miles an hour, 45, somewhere around there. Still too much wind resistance, and sure enough, Vlad's behind me, which I always tell him, make sure you're behind me, put your hazard lights on. So if some Final Destination crap happens where some stuff's coming out the back of a truck and bounces to kill everybody. Because I know Vlad can obviously react to it because he's paying attention to it the whole time. And so everybody can react to him.
You would be surprised how many retards in this state, when you see a tailgate down, like these heavy appliances in this truck, and it's like strapped in, the truck is going slow, they will ride that person's ass, not understanding that if one thing falls out, it's going straight into their windshield.
So we obviously have Vlad will follow by a good, I don't know, like 3 car lengths behind. So it's more than enough time for him to react.
With hazard lights, so that way people should be going around.
And of course, we stay in the right lane. Problem is we had in this stupid highway system, we have to get all the way over to the it's a 3-lane highway, so we have to get all the way over to the left lane to get off onto the exit, to then get back onto another smaller highway to then get off on the back roads. So before we even got to this off ramp system, we're doing like 50 miles an hour. We're on the phone, we're talking with another friend of ours, actually one of our other investors, talking with him, just shooting the shit honestly. And sure enough, massive shaking in the car happens, and Vlad's like, whoa, 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 stop. And I'm like, oh god. So I slam on the brakes. I look behind me in my rearview mirror. I see that the fridge has fallen down onto the tailgate, about to fall off, but because of the momentum of me stopping, it pushes the fridge back into the truck bed. So luckily it stayed there. I then veer off onto the side. Notice that the freezer, because it's the old style where the freezer is the top drawer and the bottom one is a fridge. The freezer drawer or door or whatever is off in the middle of the road, and a couple little parts scattered everywhere. And I'm like, oh my god. So luckily we ran out into the middle of we ran out into the highway, the interstate, where it's like 60 plus miles an hour, 70 on some areas. Run out there, grab the freezer door, throw it back on. We threw the freezer door inside, and then we just kind of put everything sort of back together, tightened it all down, and then just said F it, did it again, drive over to the left lane, get off, and then just went back to slow mode. But yeah, so as it sits, we're over here in the middle of the side of the road. People are booking it past us. Cars are shaking everywhere while we're trying to strap this thing down in the middle of the rain. Classic. And of course, we didn't get any video of it because, we forget about these things.
Yep.
But it would have been hilarious to rewatch it. I would have loved to watch it over again. It was so funny.
And I guess that we've gone over the budget. You went over the stories. We've covered everything currently going on with the mobile home park. Honestly, I think that's pretty much everything. Only new. No, actually, that's
The
it.
only other real new thing that we have, which isn't really related to this in particular, which obviously we'll continue to update you in the next the next video with budgets and things, is that both Vlad and I have gotten a pretty consistent streaming schedule now. So if you ever do want to check us out on off hours, so basically when we're not doing business related stuff, or if you have questions for us, we're still willing to answer them while we're streaming. We're just playing games and doing whatever.
Just again, understand it's not as formal on stream as it is here.
So pretty much the way it's set up is that Vlad starts the week off on a Monday, so he streams Monday, I stream Tuesday. He streams Wednesday, I stream Thursday. He streams Friday, we both stream on Saturday, and then I finish it off on Sunday, rinse and repeat. Pretty much every night is at 8 o'clock. A couple nights are a little earlier, around like 5 or so, depending on whatever schedules we're doing. You can go to our individual channels and see what hours we're doing, or whatever games we plan on playing at that point, because we'll probably update things here and there as new games come out. Right now we're playing New World because it's the newest thing that came out. My computer literally caught on fire because I did a 24-hour stream, so unfortunately I can't play it at the moment. But either way, check out our channels if you're interested in seeing what kind of games we play, or if you just want to talk with us, you're more than welcome to check us out. We also have our individual YouTube channels related to that content, so you can check all that out. We'll put it on the screen here for you, so that way you can check us out and let us know if you have any questions related to business or personal stuff like gaming and whatever else you want to talk about. Outside of that, that's pretty much our full update for September.
Yep, that's pretty much good to go. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next update video for October, which if we're following the trend, should actually be a much more peaceful month. November will get a little bit more hectic, and then ride it out from there.
It always does it. Like I said, fall gets easy for us, and I gotta be honest with you, September was a relatively easy month, given all the stupid stuff we had to deal with. But even compared to August was awful, man.
Yes.
It was bad. So September was way better. October should be really good. And then, like you said, November is always like that last little hitch of crap that hits the fan. And then December, peace until about February.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, other than that, we'll see you guys in the next update. Appreciate you guys checking out, and comment below if you guys have any questions about anything. Thanks again.
Peace.
Peace.